All right, waking up. Time to get the day started. As a peer support, I'm gonna start off first with a nice shower, skincare routine, get some scratching in, eat me a nice light breakfast, and set the tone for today with some prayer. Let's do it.
Hey, it's Katie, your host for this episode of Just Like Me, a podcast for peer supporters and the peer support curious, or anyone who believes healing happens in relationship. That voice you just heard was Yonnae, starting the morning the way she always does, grounding herself first with self-care and prayer before stepping into her day as a peer supporter. The conversation you're about to hear tells a story of Yonnae's childhood spent in the system. But it's also a story about how she found her way out of that maze, how she looked for the helpers, how she chose a mindset that kept her moving toward the life she wanted. What she reminds us is that healthier systems don't begin with control or compliance. They begin with representation, listening to people with lived experience, trusting what they know, and making space for whatever they need in order to heal. And while she's just getting started, Yonnae's work as a peer supporter is aiming to do just that. Here's Yonnae. Hey, Yonnae.
Hey, how's it
Hey,
going?
so glad to have you. If you were to talk about your first memory of realizing that you were part of a system and not just a family or a community or a city, but that there was like an overarching system that was sort of making decisions about and for your life, what was one of those earliest memories?
I would have to say one of the earliest memories that I had, which made me realize, that I'm like, okay, who's calling the shots here, was when I just was moved into my grandma's house and taken away from my mom. And this was after being insecure. All I just remember is just constantly seeing new faces, new home, new face, new home. And every time I would at the visits and ask my parents like, why are we not with y'all? It's for the best. It's for the best. It's for the best. Like, the best for who? Because no one's asking me what's the best for me. Why am I keep being shifted if you keep telling me it's for the best? Man, that's when I knew that I wasn't the one, or even my parents wasn't the one in control of any decision making, really.
It sounds incredibly difficult to navigate that understanding as a child. And I know we'll talk more about how you have come to navigate that as an adult. But what did that look like, when you're saying you went from place to place? What did that really look like for you from moment to moment?
Yeah, it looked like a lot of crying, a lot of stagnation. It looked like a lot of bullying in school. It looked like a lot of trying to figure out what to call this adult. Because when we were younger, they would say just call them auntie or uncle. And then it was just like Mr. or Mrs. It looks like someone who may not look like you picking you up and everyone looking at you crazy. It looks like you having to constantly tell people they got to get fingerprinted before y'all can go skating. And it makes it seem like a whole case is around you. So you can't have sleepovers with your friends. It just looked like a lot. It looked just like someone new into my life every day that I'm saying that I'm supposed to trust. It, it was just, it was a lot. Constantly being placed in new environments, new rules, new faces, just very little stability.
Mm.
Overall, it just created a deep sense of disconnection. And not just from my family, but from myself. I just wasn't able to be a kid. I was just always surviving and trying to prove myself in systems that really wasn't even designed to see me as a whole person.
The system wasn't.
Nope.
Yeah. Can you share um, what some of the systems are that touched your life even before you were born? What some of those systems are that would have impacted generations of your family prior to yourself?
Yes, these are things that I didn't come to learn too by the way about my family history. until I got older. So just imagine realizing and understanding. You come from generations of the child welfare system being within your family. My mama got took. My mama's mama got took. My great grandma raised all the kids in kinship. Everyone within my family had either one or some of their kids took into the child welfare system. And every male in my family has been a victim of the criminal justice system as well. They serve some time in jail, if not prison. And it all started within the school systems. Some of them not even graduating. Years and years and years of poverty, disease, misinformation, and it just trickles down. And you see it in real time. I'm at the age now where I'm seeing it in real time because the ones who were kids are now having kids. And these same behaviors, these same addictions and ways on how they process trauma are trickling down. And it's sad because it's like easy bait. You're easy bait to go in the system.
This is just such a clear example of that if people were given a little bit of a different offering, something that would give them the conditions to thrive, that maybe we would solve a big part of the problem that the system is actually just perpetuating.
Yes, exploiting, if you ask me. A lot of the things that I look back growing up from my biological family, I realized we were just poor. We were just in poverty because the love was there. I was in foster care and I started playing volleyball in the seventh grade. And I wound up playing all the way to my senior year, going undefeated, MVP, team captain. And my adopted parents had 3 cars and never went to one game. And my biological
Mm.
dad to my game, walked to my game to support me.
I really want to talk about the impact that this system has on the parents and the trauma that they experience.
Yes, and I'm so happy that you brought that up because I haven't heard too much really focusing on the adult experiencing trauma after literally getting, in some cases, their kids took it from them and no one even letting them know that it's going to happen. And you can't contact your child. You don't know where they at. It's basically similar. Yes, it is similar to your child getting kidnapped. Just imagine what cortisol you done strike, what anxieties, what fears, what I don't even know if I can trust you at this point because I'm not in my thinking brain. My thinking brain isn't on. It's shut off at this point. I'm in high alert because I don't know if my kid's safe. Don't let the kid be a little bitty baby because they can't say anything. They can't be able to tell you what's going on. So it's just, this is a tricky subject matter, a tricky system
Mhm.
because, of course, it is needed. And this is why I'm happy we're moving to more towards trauma informed. It's just really deep work, and I just feel like there's always more to be learned too. I feel like a lot of times we're relying on really, really outdated information. So it is important to continue to learn and just immerse yourself in these communities that you are wanting to help.
Well, it's a beautiful segue you just created there because I wonder if you can share what peer support looks like within the system and how it might serve to create a healthier system.
Yes, it starts with representation. It starts with people like me. It starts with other peer supporters. Being that for our community, I just really, again, just think this work is so important. It's so vital to have someone walk with you who's been through it, who's grew through it, and can work hand in hand with those who are helping shape it. I just feel like that's a win-win.
Mhm.
It's easier for someone when you're vulnerable and you put yourself out there and you're able to let them know that you're experienced turmoil. You would never expect someone who may have been through that to get to a certain position. So to see that representation matters. And the more that those who may be struggling see that those who have struggled have overcome, it puts a different type of hope and strength and resilience in those around you who are wanting the same thing. And if you mix that with actually putting them in, healthier environments and, situations where they can get actual, not just talk therapy, the one that gets down and
Like somatic or
yeah.
like EMDR or that kind of.
Yes, like experiencing the different kinds and not
Mhm.
just, mainly relying on one or two or a couple. You have to be with people through their ups and through their downs and giving that space, giving those multiple pathways, not just saying, oh, take this pathway, this is the only pathway, and this is how you're going to get there. And that's another beauty of peer support because it invites them to many pathways. As I mentioned, healing, life, none of that is not linear, you know? So finding the path that may be right for them, and even if it's not, okay, let me walk with you, let's go back together. I'm not finna judge you.
I'm really struck by your depiction of the lack of human connection that comes from being part of a system, whether it is because you were taken from your parents and put in multiple different homes, whether it is a lack of connection to yourself as a child because you had to just go into survival mode, whether it is to like your extended family or your classmates. So much of human survival revolves around relationship and connection. And one of the things you've talked about being an important aspect of your healing has been your own community and finding a chosen family, as you had called it. So, can you tell us a little bit more about what that has looked like for you and how that's helped you on your healing journey?
Yes, I feel like throughout my entire life, although I may not have been placed in the most ideal family dynamic, getting older, once I began to get a little bit more freedom and I was making more connections at school and getting involved, it really helped me find my chosen family. And when I say chosen, those are the ones who chose me and they saw me. I like people who like me. They want to pour into me. Just immersing yourself around the people you would never know or never think and just being vulnerable. And when you feel like you come from, in my instance, a real terrible upbringing and you feel like almost everyone in your family is toxic and you go find that family. Ain't no rules. Ain't nobody tell you you can't. So connecting with community and those who have like mindsets of you and challenging yourself and being comfortable with being uncomfortable. At the end of the day, the people who are for you are going to come to you and just making that first step too. Like when I say the people going to come to you, that don't mean you stay in the house. Because they're not going to come knocking at your door. Go figure out what is it something that you always wanted to do and go do it. I guarantee somebody will be right there trying to do the same thing.
Give me an example of what that's looked like for you, because I'm really curious how you've been able to look for community in places that are just like your interests or things, an
Yeah.
idea you've always had to like go do, try something.
Yeah, the first place I'm gonna say is school, sports clubs. Like I truly believe with my heart, Sports is what really helped me thrive, and it teaches you so much. It teaches you leadership, it teaches you how to work with others, it teaches you problem solving, it teaches you responsibility because you got to get to practice at a certain time. It teaches you, educational discipline because you have to make certain grades in order to be able to play, and you release dopamine because you're working out, you're exercising, and communication skills because you're learning how to communicate with your team. So learning different personalities and having that quote unquote, most importantly, like mom parent figure, like your coach. I always looked at my coach as like that type of figure. So I really just start with your school, your counselors. I had a really good relationship with my counselors. Like when I say there are resources out there, it's not corny to go talk to a counselor. Reach out to your resource, even if it's the lunch lady. How you doing today? And that's another thing I like to tell people. Be open, have a good energy, speak to people. It's okay to tell somebody how you doing because you never know who this person may be or become. That's why I'm always nice to people and I always smile. It's nothing to ask how you doing today. Even if they your cashier, they your grocer, they make your McDonald's workers. So just being optimistic, doing the things that you love. Like when you see stuff that you naturally gravitate to, like if you like to sing, go to a singing club, go to a church. If you like to dance, go to a dance hall, party, just even starting little. And they got online clubs now these days. You don't even got to show up in person. So just finding what naturally feels good to you and going out there to find it. We live in a place with Google, ChatGPT, and some more stuff. There is no reason why you can't find your tribe.
I love this. It's so optimistic and happy and like positive, and it's so practical. I really want to ask you if you ever experienced a time when this option might not have felt right to you to like go find your tribe, and what do you think you would tell that person today?
Multiple times, and I'm sure it's going to be multiple more because at the end of the day, you got to be the worst before you can be the best. Like, it's easy to give up. It's so easy to give up. It's hard to keep going. It goes back to that optimism. And honestly, if I'm going to be real, I just feel like when you shoot for the stars and land on the moon, you will be okay. So I just always just shoot for the biggest, for the best. So I'm focusing on what can go right versus what can go wrong. And practice gratitude, 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 gratitude. I know that sounds like a cliche, but it works. When you thankful that you can walk, like at least I can walk, at least I can talk, at least I can function. And knowing that hard times is gonna come, it's going to come. You just have to be proactive and write your action plan and all that good stuff.
Well, for everyone listening, this is a pep talk in your pocket. So I hope you come back to it next time you need a little pickup. As far as being a peer supporter, you're going to encounter people who aren't ready yet to decide to get out of bed. You're gonna encounter people who aren't ready to be on a path to healing. How do you think you will approach that?
And it's gonna start with validating, meeting them where they are, having a sense of curiosity. When you care about someone, you're gonna ask questions. Because guess what? 9 times out of 10, people know what they need to do. People know what they need to do. They just don't want to hear it prematurely. So the more you get curious, the more you ask questions, they gonna solve it themselves and be like, you know what? This is what I need to such and such and such. And this is another thing they teach us in our training, which I'm very thankful about, is asking open-ended questions, being able to paraphrase. You don't want them to feel attacked. You don't want them to feel like you're judging them. You're supposed to come to them in a sense of non-judgment and just openness and remembering, which is the first thing that they teach us. They have to want it for themselves. So if they just want to chop it up about the Bengals, and what they did last week, that's just what we're going to chop it up about. I'm not going to be like, hey, so what's up with that plan? I'm just going to genuinely just be curious about them, and it's naturally just going to come out. Just give people the space to just be human, to just vent without judgment, without you trying to correct them, show them. because they're going to show themselves. People already know what they need to do. They just have to unlock it within themselves, and then they just have to want it. And as soon as they want it, I'm here to give them the help, show them to the resource, whatever they need. You want to go down this path? Let's go. You want to turn around, do a U-turn, do this one? Let's do it. Letting people give them the space and opportunity to live their life.
I just think there is so much non-judgment in that answer around a person's journey, where they're at, meeting them there, coming with curiosity, asking questions, and also like not forcing anything.
Mm.
And I just love the answer that people are wise. And like the person who knows themselves best is going to be themselves and what they need. And
Yeah.
fixing their problems could come from them, it doesn't need to come from any set of rules or a book. But you can suggest different tactics and techniques that they can try out if they're ready for that.
Right.
My yoga instructor used to call herself the great suggester. And I feel like that's somewhat what a peer supporter is like you can take these suggestions, but you don't have to do them.
Just letting them know that it's there. Like a lot of people just don't know that it's there. In some cases, showing them that you've already took this path and giving them what happened to you during this path, while also letting them know it can still be different for you. Everyone is different.
I have one last question for you, unless there's anything else you'd like to add before we wrap. But you're a certified youth peer supporter. And if you don't mind me asking, if you could share how old you are and why you decided to become a youth peer supporter. Technically, you're of the age you could become an adult peer supporter as well. But I'm just curious if you think there's a value in having youth as peer support working in the system to walk alongside people on their journey, and what value you think young people can
Mm.
bring to this field.
Yes. Honestly, I'm 25 years young. Start there. And I feel like the reason that I chose youth is because I was just that youth. So it's still pretty fresh to me. I feel like I'm at an age where I can help those who are navigating through high school into young adult because I just did it. So it's still really fresh to me, and I have a different understanding coming from my generation. So the youth are a lot of times generalized. They stereotyped and they're placed into these boxes as they don't know. So to actually have someone who is a youth who's speaking like this is different, and it brings another sense of power, as I mentioned, and representation matters. I'm not just someone who is all book smarts. Like, I'm literally from the streets, grew up poor. So it's like I'm able to give a different perspective. I'm going to give an example. I was on an important call for my father to drop some stuff off for him. And I mentioned to the lady that I was going to get an Uber, but a thing had came up. Like, I told her Uber, but in reality, I was getting a bootleg. Like, do you know what a bootleg is, Katie?
I am definitely a white girl from the suburbs.
Nah, and it ain't. And she was African American and still didn't know. So it's more so of a classism thing, like you said. So I'm able to actually understand and empathize with that type of certain group that I want to work with, to be able all the way to even go down to the language, that's being spoken. So basically, I say that just to say I feel like I have experience within different types of living. So I'm able to better empathize and better meet people where they are. I'm just not finna be where I am in life and not let you know where I came from. And if you coming from a similar background, then I want to let you know that this is too where you can get in life, if not better, wherever you want to go.
You are going places, Yonnae. I mean, I'm watching your journey. It thrills me to be somewhat on it with you, as a sidecar, watching you go. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful for you. Is there anything else you would want to share that I haven't asked, or anything else you would want to add as we wrap up here?
I just really just want to say thank you for just allowing me to even come on this platform to share, the insights and my perspective and my journey. and how I'm using it to help others and to, inform the systems, the people, the community, everyone out there listening and will listen, that while the systems and stuff may not be perfect, people are not perfect, nobody is perfect, but we're all worth it. We all come together and give a sense of what we go through and what we want and what we need at our community, and we all hear each other out. No, everyone's not going to have the same way of thinking, but I do truly believe deep down inside we truly want the same thing. We want to live in a world that's wrapped in love, family, support. So, I feel like it's my purpose out here to give back and help God's people, and that makes me happy. And I want to be, like I mentioned, a safe adult that a lot of youth may not have. I want to bridge that gap. I want to rid of any negative connotation around youth, especially in the system, that they are delinquent, they are not worth it, they are corrupted, they're fried. I want to get rid of that negative connotation because they was just unloved. They was just disregarded and thrown out. And I want to let them know that I care. I ain't forget about y'all. And if y'all want it, I'm going to help you get it.
Well, I can't wait for people to be able to reach out to you on your mega platform that you have someday. But until then, you can find Yonnae's YouTube videos on Hey, I'm Here. She has a whole series on how she got her youth peer support certification. And I know there's more to come.
Sounds good. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening and witnessing this conversation with Yonnae. You might have noticed that we're not publishing as often as we'd hoped. On September 30th, like so many youth-serving organizations across the country, Hey, I'm Here, and projects like this podcast experienced significant federal funding cuts. It's a reality that shaped our timeline, but not our commitment to youth mental health. Despite the slowdown, this work continues. The stories continue. Young people like Yonnae continue to lead us toward a different way of healing. Thank you for being here in the uncertainty with us, and thank you for believing in this work enough to return even when the episodes might come a little bit more slowly or sporadically. We promise we'll be back with more soon.